All right, welcome to the very first US Sprint Enduro podcast. US Sprint Enduro is an East Coast AMA regional championship series where we race the clock on two different style tracks for short, intense bursts. It's a series built by racers for racers. And for this episode today, we have the founders of USSE here to chat about something really exciting happening this summer. So the 2022 season of US Sprint Enduro wraps up this coming Father's Day weekend in Bristol, Virginia. But shortly after that, the founders of USSE are hosting a separate event that's never been done before. Some of you may have already heard about this, but this is the inaugural Sprint Enduro World Championship. And that's what we're here to talk about today. What the heck is it? Where is it? Why is it happening? How do you get to race it? And a lot more. So without further ado, let's welcome Billy and Nancy Schlag, the brains and the hard work behind this awesome series. How are you guys doing?
Great, Allie.
Hey.
How's it going? Let's kind of dive in here. What is this Sprint Enduro World Championship?
Well, since we already had a great series, the US Sprint Enduro running, we decided that what a shame that not everyone in the world can attend each and every one of our 8 rounds. So let's offer an annual event, and it's going to be the Sprint Enduro World Championship.
Yeah, it's almost kind of like a, almost like a 6 days event, but it's, where everybody gets to come and race this one time and see who's the fastest. So when is this happening?
Well, it happens July 9th and 10th at River's Edge in Sand Level, Virginia.
Awesome. So July 9th and 10th, just a few weeks after the final round of US Sprint Enduro. So tell us kind of like what made you think, you kind of touched on it a little bit, but what made you think about putting on this Sprint Enduro World Championship?
Well, since we are putting out a good product in the US Sprint Enduro series, felt that we want to offer this to the world and have the best riders come over and compete at one of our events. And what better way to do that than to have the one annual event that you have to qualify for or be invited.
Gotcha. So this is like an exclusive, it sounds like it's an invitational, right?
That's right.
So how does somebody get to race the Sprint Enduro World Championship?
Well, the top 5 in whatever class they're running with US Sprint Enduro are automatically entered into the race. There's a spot for them if they're able to attend. We've sent out emails to these folks to let them know that the invitation is there for them if they're interested. But we also have another way that other people can get involved in this event. If they go to the website, sprintenduroworldchampionship.com, at the bottom of the page, there's actually a form. And we receive that form and consider all forms, and we'll look at the information that they provide, and we'll email them back. And if they're able to get into the race and they really want to do it, then we'll see about making a spot for them. We ask that all of the people that we already invited, that they would actually let us know by the 25th of June so that we know how many spots we have open. We can continue to send out invites or accept these forms because we do want it to be something very special. If you're going to attend it, it's a special event not everyone can get into. So the earlier you get to us, the better for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And you guys were just telling me because I know, my fiance, Taylor Jones, she got an email as well since she was in the top 5 in points. So I know she's going, that's for sure. But I know we have to have our entries in before June 25th is what you guys were telling me?
Yes.
Okay, so June 25th, for those of you guys that have been racing US Sprint Enduro and you're in the top 5 of points, check your email and make sure that you register for this event before June 25th. And then if you haven't been racing US Sprint Enduro, be sure to go to that website and fill out a form or an application to apply to race this event. So I know, like I said, my fiance Taylor Jones is going to be there. Do we know who else is going to be here?
Well, we do have confirmation from Husqvarna, KTM, Gas, Yamaha, and Honda. Riders will be there. We can't officially name that yet. There's some other announcements that need to come out before this one. So so we're excited for that. And we do have some riders that are from other places in the world that currently contend with US Sprint Enduro that will be there.
That's awesome. And I know this type of racing, and you guys were talking about this earlier, obviously the teams for International 6 Days Enduro for the USA hasn't been announced yet, but that's really a big purpose here, is actually preparing for that event. And this is the best way to do it.
Absolutely. So that's the other thing that we want this event to serve as, is a warm-up round for the International 6 Day Enduro each year, in addition to it being the special one-off event that focuses on the sprint portion of the ISDE.
I love it. I love it. So it's kind of twofold, right? It's this big world championship event, but it's also really great preparation for, the Olympics of off-road racing, which is awesome. So tell us kind of, you've had this idea, you've been running the US Sprint Enduro, you want to give everybody a chance to have this, big one-off special event and show their skills from, wherever they may be from. So tell us kind of what your vision is for this Sprint Enduro World Championship. We have this first event coming, but what does that look like in the future?
In the future, we want to build this event into a multi-day event that will better serve as a warm-up for the ISDE, yet still place focus on the sprint portion of the ISDE. So it's always going to be an event that primarily is focused on the sprint portion and what that takes to get up each day and put your boots on and focus on the demands that are ahead of you, to focus and be on the edge or ride on the edge, and put in those strong test times, because that's the biggest portion that really adds up for your end score at an ISD event, is how fast you are. So that's what we're always going to place focus on, but we want to make it a multi-day event so that you are still getting that part of it, to where you have to get up each day and do it all over again.
Oh, I love it. You just got me even more excited. I didn't realize you were wanting to make this into a multi-day event like that, which is pretty cool for people that are, maybe not able to qualify for 6 days or not able to go to 6 days. It's a pretty cool event for us to have over here once a year, where it's a big deal like this.
That's right. So what we want this to do is to get everybody with that mindset, or get that mindset with everyone that you have a multi-day event. It places a certain amount of demand on you, but we also want to make it to where it's not going to be an event that's overly stringent, I guess you could say, to where all age groups and all rider levels will be able to attend this in their class. So I don't want to take that away as well. We definitely look forward to the future. This year, we want to just kind of get it going this year with doing it the same way that we do at US Sprint Enduro around now, and to build on the future.
Yeah, so for those listeners that don't maybe know what US Sprint Enduro is or how that even works, let's talk about that a little bit, and let's talk about the format that this Sprint Enduro World Championship is going to have.
Yep, so what you'll have a cross test and an enduro test. The cross test will be primarily a grass track, which will have 3 different soils really mixed in one test. It'll have sand, clay, and rock. The rock is not a real demanding rock, but it's a sandy, kind of grippy sandstone, and that's a cross test. And then you'll bounce over to the enduro test, which the enduro test will be primarily in the trees, and it'll look very much like a US Sprint Enduro.
Oh, I love it. So in a US Sprint Enduro, we have, we swap back and forth, cross test, 30 minutes or so break in between, go to the enduro test, and then we repeat that, back and forth 6 times on Saturday and 6 times on Sunday. And that'll be the same thing that we have at the World Championship.
That is correct.
I love it. I love it. And this is honestly, and just as a racer myself, this has been one of my absolute favorite formats of racing. And it's one of those things where you can actually, just like you were saying earlier, ride on that edge, full intensity. But the other thing I love about US Sprint Enduro, which it sounds like we're going to have the same kind of environment here, is it's a really fun weekend. It's not like we just go and, get there and race a couple hours or whatever and then leave. We're going back and forth, racing these tests. In between, we have some bench racing. But then there's also like this really fun family environment where we get to do STACYC races, hang out all, afternoon, Saturday afternoon, before we race again on Sunday. Is that kind of what we're going to have here at the World Championship again?
Oh, absolutely. Mixed in is we have a beautiful river that runs along the edge of the property. You can go down and do activities that you would at a river. It's a nice sandy beachfront type of areas there at the river, swimming. I'm sure that you can find a fishing hole somewhere if you like. There's
better.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's a great place for families. Just a great place to hang out.
Yeah, so it sounds like honestly the perfect property to do this on, because you have like this recreational area with the river, family fun, like we always do at US Sprint Enduro, but especially with like what Billy was saying earlier with the mixture of terrain, like having this sand, clay, and some rock. It kind of like evens the playing field a little bit for some racers that may be really good in one terrain, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome. So super excited about this property for this event. Like you said, I mean, like say for instance, I can see Cody Barnes now down that sand section dragging bars and what's that?
Oh, watching Cody Barnes. I love watching that kid ride.
Yeah, that's what when I see this section, that's what I think of. So it's it's going to be awesome. So but then you'll have the riders that in those few rocky sections that obviously they'll excel through those.
Yeah, more technical, like Josh Toth, he's always really good at those technical sections too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And obviously having, these big name riders like that, which is kind of what we're going to have, obviously, at this World Championship with the teams that are coming. Like you were saying earlier, this is something that, with 6 days, you have, with this special test format of racing, it's really like this one shot. There's just a few riders that get to go. But with this, it's really a chance for everybody to go, where you have all different, riding abilities, different classes, and even youth classes too, right?
Yes. So I'd like to point out additionally along the way, I want the youth riders to be part of this great event, so they develop their skills to compete in the ISD eventually, and I'd like to see them growing up with that mindset, and also like motocross has Loretta Lynn's, well now off-road will have Sprint Enduro World Championship.
I love that. I think that's one of my favorite things about, I said in the beginning of this podcast, like this was a series built by racers for racers, and your actions speak louder than words on that. I see Billy going around to all the pro racers all the time, all the racers, asking how we can make it better, what would make it more fun, all that stuff. So, and honestly, the team and the crew and the scoring, everything you guys do at US Sprint Enduro, the crew that you guys have is just incredible. They're so dedicated to making these events smooth, professional. So you have this combination of just really awesome people, but gosh, every US Sprint Enduro I've been to, even from the beginning, the scoring is smooth, the time of each test runs smoothly. It's really professional. All the signs, the banners, the everything that you guys have out there. It's really the perfect formula of people to run an event like this.
Yes, absolutely. Super, super proud of all of our people that help us with this, that they are definitely who make this series work, make our events great. They are excellent at what they do. They are super focused, and they give 100% every time that they're at our events.
Yeah, and thank you for saying that too, because it really does matter to us. We understand, just what kind of investment it takes to get to these races, and we start every race plan making sure that it's going to be an awesome event, going to be worth the while. Like that's something we think about for the racers and the families that are coming.
Yep, that's right. And so we think of that. We cut no corners, and our entire crew feels the same way. We're all like mindset, and they are given 100% every time that they're there, and that means every single event it's the same crew pulling these great events off.
Yep.
And it'll be no different at the Sprint Enduro World Championship.
Yeah, absolutely. And like you guys said, like no corner. I mean, the amount of stuff that goes into even just putting on a series like you guys do now. So many things that you guys have to do that you guys put together so well, and it always runs so smoothly. So I think this is going to be, the perfect crew to run an event like this. But also we have obviously Trail Pros Racing does this, US Sprint Enduro series and builds these tracks. This is you, Billy, that with, I think 30 years of experience building tracks like this.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm an old guy, so I've been around
Not
for a
to
while.
age you, Billy, but you've been doing this a while.
Yeah, no doubt. So, but yeah, it's great. I enjoy it. It's definitely something that you have to enjoy, the amount of time and effort and it goes into these events. I guess that a lot of these tracks are an extension of what I've kind of compiled through all these years of racing dirt bikes.
Yeah, absolutely. And for myself, like the last 20 plus years of racing dirt bikes, it's really a big deal when you go to an event, being able to trust the track, especially when we're riding on the edge so intense like we do at US Sprint Enduro. You just do such a great job. And I've even watched you build tracks, on the skid steer and stuff like that. And it's really cool to watch you because obviously, Billy, as you were a professional racer for many years, traveling the country as a racer, but it's like when you build tracks, you get into your flow in the zone and you put everything into it. There's no corners cut. You make sure that, there's no gotcha corners, I think is what you call them.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So it's like to try to find that balance between the no gotcha corners and still with the technical aspect. So that can be a little tricky at times to put that together, but always looking for input from all of the riders. Every rider that's out there at our events, we want them to come to us and tell us what they think, what their opinions are on what we can do to make things better.
Absolutely. And over the last couple of years, you really kind of honed in that skill and that format of building these tracks, which I think is awesome. I always know that when I go to a US Sprint Enduro, you can trust that it's going to be fun, it's going to be flowy, it's going to be challenging, all those things combined. You can trust that it's going to be a good track, which I think is a big deal when we're putting on such a big, exclusive invitational event like this World Championship, is having tracks like that these pro racers and racers of all sorts can come to.
Yes. So the other thing I'll touch on is that these are courses that are put together with all rider abilities in mind to be good courses that provide a good end result in the competition. So we don't want things that are in the courses that are just too daggone hard to navigate. But at the same time, we want to have a technical aspect in each course that tests even the most advanced rider.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's, obviously we're going to see this at World Championship too, but at the US Sprint Enduro Series, it's really fun to watch the spectrum of racing that goes on, right? Like it's a really great series or racing style format for a beginner rider that's coming to ride. Even female riders have that comfort. It's not like we're lining up against a bunch of people at one time. We're racing the clock, but you see like in the pro classes and A classes, B classes, we see racing that is just insanely tight, right? We're down to, I remember last round we had Gus Reardon and Cody Barnes going to that final test on Saturday, 0.1 seconds apart. Like that's how intense the racing gets.
Yeah, it's great. So I've been racing dirt bikes for like 43 years roughly, and I would have never thought that this format would have been such an awesome format that it is until you actually do it and experience it, and then you realize how intense the competition side of this is, along with the fun of it. It's at the same time it's this awesome mixture of intense competition with a laid back atmosphere that I just simply never see this anywhere else.
Yeah, and I'll also add, when I've raced them in the past too, and being I'm a 40 plus woman, not like the fastest at all, like pretty slow, but the format, it's something for everyone. And in my riding abilities, I always love that it is single file racing. It's you against the clock. It isn't, bar to bar, head to head. We're not starting all on one line. I always felt confident and safe going out there and just able to get in my own flow and do my own thing and watch my test times and, just try to improve however I was doing. And you get that through all the classes. So even like in the pro classes, how it is so intense, it's just as intense for those of us in the back of the lineup. And it's just great racing all the way around for all the levels.
Oh, 100%. We even had, this last round, we introduced a younger girl racer to this format of racing. She had never done it before, and she actually started racing or riding during, COVID when that happened. And all she'd ever raced was, GNCC hare scramble style. And we invited her to come out there with us. And she was like a 12-year-old on Christmas the entire time, like every test coming back, smiling, dancing, just having a good time. And like you said, she was really, really into the intensity of the racing, checking her times in between each test, trying to get faster each test, and she actually really improved in her next hare scramble race after racing a format like this.
Yeah, it's the perfect format. It really is. It really is. It's great, especially for the new riders. Like you said, it's the perfect grounds for testing. I think that's another reason why this is such a great event to have. Weeks before the ISDE each year, we can make it a true warm-up event for that, and they can test their bikes, get their bikes set up for the conditions that they'll see weeks later.
I love it. Awesome. So July 9th and 10th, the first ever Sprint Enduro World Championship Series. So for those of you racing US Sprint Enduro this year in your top 5, you're already invited, so be sure to get your registration in before July 25th. And if you haven't been racing, be sure to go to SprintEnduroWorldChampionship.com and fill out an application to attend this Invitational World Championship event this summer in Sand Level, Virginia, right?
That's right.
You got it.
Look forward to seeing everybody out there. Even if you do not qualify for the event, please come out and take a look and spectate this awesome event.
Absolutely. And if you guys have any other questions in the meantime, I know we chatted about a lot here to kind of clear things up about what this event is, what it looks like, but feel free to reach out to us. You can go to our social media. We have on Instagram at US Sprint Enduro. And we also have at Sprint Enduro World Championship, Facebook, email. We're all here to answer questions for you guys. We'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you so much for listening.